In this part of the world, it takes a lot of grit and determination in building successful businesses and successful careers. For women, the hurdle is twofold, as many of them have had to juggle being mothers, caregivers, and breadwinners, alongside managing successful businesses and careers. I am Bisola Ayeola, and on today's episode of Real Talk, I have the privilege of speaking with some of the most hardworking women building successful businesses and successful careers one day at a time. Hi, Sho. Hi, Georgie. Hi, Elena. Hi, Tanya. Why are you laughing? That's a guilty laugh over there.
Conscious right there.
Hi, lovely ladies. Thank you for joining us on Real Talk. You are into fintech, our lawyer, natural hair products stuff. We are seeing you are repping your brand already. Tanya obviously is repping her brand as well, Ziva. So I'm just going to ask you ladies to just share a little bit about what you do, your business for those who are watching. I have a little idea, but for everyone watching, so I'm going to start with you, Sheon. Just share a bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, thank you. My name is Sheon Runshiwe. Yes. I basically build software products in the financial technology industry. What that means is I get to sort of define how people interact with money in this new day fintech applications. So basically started my career in consulting, and now I'm trying to build communities for women because I feel like not enough women have enough control or agency when it comes to money. So yeah, just like things around money, and now a bit more focused on just like Africa altogether and African women. So that's what I do. Amazing. Thank you guys.
Georgie.
Yes, boo.
Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
So actually very similar to Show. I'm now in the fintech industry.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Welcome.
But I'm actually an entertainment lawyer. I've been working in Nigeria now for almost 6 years, growing my practice. So that's what I do. I love it. I really enjoy it. So it's so good to be here.
Nice. Awesome. Elena.
Hi, my name is Elena. I own a natural hair company who basically we curate Afrocentric units that looks and feels like your natural hair. I recently started an influencer marketing agency where we help brands target the ideal client using influencer marketing.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Tanya.
Are you sure I'm going to say anything after all these?
Oh, please. Most definitely.
Take up space, girl.
So my name is Tanya Matayo, and I own a brand called Ziva Lagos, and now we have Ziva Kids. Ziva Lagos is a ready-to-wear, affordable, fast fashion brand, and Ziva Kids, we have everything: toys, essential clothing. My number one client over here.
I patronize Ziva Kids a lot, so yes, most def.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so I'm going to ask Elena and Tanya, how did you guys, or when did you guys decide to start up your own businesses, and why?
Should I go first?
Oh, you go first.
So I had a 9-to-5 job, and I had just moved back from going to university in America. And you know, abroad we have H&M, there's Zara, there's Primark, there's all these affordable everyday clothing stores. And here, I'll go and buy one dress, they'll tell me 75,000. At that time, that was a lot of money.
Of course.
And I'm just like, there are not that many ready-to-wear affordable brands. There were maybe 2-3 at the time, and it wasn't my style. So it was almost like a selfish thing. I wanted to create clothing for myself, and I knew that there would be other people that had my style that could barely find anything without having to travel abroad. So it was kind of a necessity.
Based off of your own personal needs. Fantastic. What about you, Elena?
So I think for me, I first started my business back in school, but it was more or less like a hobby. But then when I left school, I realized a lot of people were transitioning to natural hair. Everybody was doing the whole team natural and everything. But then people needed units that looked and felt like their natural hair. I remember one time I wore a wig. I got it from the US, and then people were asking, oh, I really like this. This looks good. But then I realized that people wanted something that looks like their natural hair, but then was very affordable. So that was how we started, outsourcing and creating units that look like your natural hair. So you can wear your natural hair, you can still wear our units, and then it looks and it feels like your natural hair. So that's how we started basically.
So for both of you, how did you, let me go in since you've already been talking. How did you raise capital to start?
Well, it was my parents that actually helped me.
And how much, can we ask how much you started off with?
I think 20,000.
20,000.
Yeah,
USD.
20,000.
I had to lean in like
No,
20,000 naira, and you've
Yeah.
been able to grow it. How
Yeah.
many? What's your workforce like?
We
how many?
are a team, totally
Yes.
12.
12.
Wow.
Yeah, fantastic. And how long?
5 years.
In 5 years, so from 20,000 naira. That's amazing. Please, you are going to have a master class on how you can build a business with just 20,000 naira. What about you, Tanya?
Okay, so I actually took a loan. I didn't want to take money from my parents because I wanted to be able to say that I did it on my own. That was my whole thing. So I had saved up, I think 800,000, and then I took a loan of 1 million from my former employer. And I had my first pop-up. I told him I was going to pay back within 6 months, but I was actually able to pay the next day because we we actually made all the money back.
And how old is Ziva now?
4 and a bit. We're turning 5.
Gosh, amazing. I want jobs like this. Making me happy. Giving me hope. So, how did you get, or when did you decide that you wanted to go into tech?
So it started off as interest, to be fair, right? So in university, I was dating this guy.
Okay, go.
Who was really young and was just doing such amazing work with, I think he was great with SAP ERP at the time. So the SAP ERP was this software that only a handful of people in the world had the skill set in. And just like, I like money, okay? So it felt like something I could pursue. And so before I got my first degree, I chased certifications, one in SAP itself and one to be an IT project manager. And luckily for me, I had exposure to just like companies and like real world problems. So I could easily raise my hands at my firm and say, guys, I want to be on the tech projects. They never really answered me. Thankfully they didn't, because they kept throwing me into core financial services projects where you're advising banks and you're helping. I helped a discount house morph into a merchant bank. But after that point, I don't know, it was just fate. I got an email from somebody I'd never met before who had heard of me from somebody else. She's super brilliant, she's this. So like it's really important to have goodwill and to do good work, right? Because that's what opened the door for me. And that was my welcome into tech, because I then got to marry my interest with my foundation in financial services and be useful there. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's how I got in.
Georgie, you're an entertainment lawyer.
Yes.
But why are you also adding fintech to
I'm interested in that.
career?
Actually, similar to what Sean's story is, again, I would say it's totally God-led, actually. So I'm a creative. Aside from being a lawyer, I also act and I play the guitar and I sing and I write. So I've always had this like creative streak in me. So entertainment law is I would say actually my calling. It just made perfect sense, to marry what I am as a creative with like advising from a legal perspective. And then recently, in looking for like new, job opportunities. This one came up completely out of the blue. I was actually in the process of applying for another fintech organization when someone within that fintech, group, fintech company sent me a message like, oh, so this company is actually looking for like an African legal consultant. Like, is that something you're interested in? Because they wanted somebody who was bilingual in French and English to help with their African expansion. And in my mind, I was like, but hold on a minute, love, because I was actually applying to your company. So I found it like
that's a really good team.
Really, yeah, I found it like just so odd. Like, he would still message me about this opportunity, and I was like, okay. I mean, then I was like, I'm not sure, but okay, because then I had like my heart set on this company. And I went through the application process. It was really fast, like literally within 2 weeks. This was like a done deal. I had an offer with them. I was working with them, and it was amazing.
Awesome.
Tanya, dealing with, it's Nigeria makes it kind of hard to start anything, and it's not just about starting now. It's the consistency, having to deal with staff. You're looking for people who are good at what they do to merge, to be in sync with you. How have you been able to manage staff?
Oh man,
your employees.
To be honest, I think I've been very lucky. I've had a few bad eggs, but for the most part, I've been very lucky. I also think it's because I knew nothing about fashion when I started, and I taught myself everything that I know. So there's nothing you can do that I can't do. So you're not irreplaceable. And I think when they understand that, it's like, well, she can do it herself. I don't mind you leaving. I'll sacrifice my 1 week and do it myself till I find someone else, And they see me every day. I go to work every day, except something happens. So I feel like if you're a good example, it's very hard. You're going to pick up the bad eggs really quickly because they will not be able to keep up with you. So I think that.
What about you? What about you, Elena? How's that been?
I think I've just had two issues with like bad staff, and like when I started my business, I knew nothing about running. I was just fresh out of the university, so I think so far so good. We've been able to have a hang of it.
So do you do like trainings for your staff? Did you have to get training yourself?
I had to get training myself, and then I had somebody train my staff too as well.
Okay, great stuff. Let me ask. How many of us are married here? I'm not, so they should not think me raising my hand. I'm just asking. I'm not married. I'm just waving. Yes. So Tanya. Yeah. But I'm very sure we all have families.
Yeah.
That's it. Georgie goes like, yes. I'm proud of my family. Tanya, how have you been able to juggle? You said you go to work every day. How do you juggle work, raising your daughter, your husband, everything?
I don't. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I don't manage. I haven't figured it out. I don't think there's a rule book. I don't think you ever figure it out. I think you just have to prioritize. And some days you sacrifice something.
That's lovely. So Sharon, what about you? How do you juggle?
Well, I have a little story for you.
Okay.
Yesterday, I have a 5-year-old, and so yesterday was Santa Day.
Oh.
And because I'm at school, and because I'm such a busy mom, so I work at Chipper Cash, and it's remote work as well. So I can work from my office, at home, etc. But these messages from school, they just fly over my head.
And there's so many.
There are so many. So it flew over my head that he was supposed to come dressed as Santa. And I just figured it out on Friday morning. I was supposed to go to Yaba, and I don't commute, I hardly commute. So I was supposed to go to Yaba for 11 o'clock to mentor some girls with Cyber Safe Foundation. Oh, wow. And I was meant to ship something to my direct boss at work that same morning, all between 7 and 12 noon. How I managed to go to a store, I didn't find Santa Claus outfits. Like I went to Ibanez, there's an Ibanez close to mine, and they said, oh, somebody just picked the last one. I wanted to sit down on the floor and cry because it's like, my son's going to be so mad, right? And so I found a tree skirt actually. and converted it into a poncho, and it came out gorgeous. He loved it. That's how that ball stayed up. I had to use my friend's driver because my driver wasn't around. Okay, can somebody borrow me their driver? I'm just frantically calling people, get me the driver to come drive me so I can sit in the front seat and type furiously so I'm able to ship what I need to ship to my boss, and then get to Yaba before 11 a.m. That's a true picture of...
Sounds like a regular day.
That's a true picture of how it goes. But how I manage to keep things going is structure.
Yeah.
Right? I try to put in as much structure as possible. I like to create a space where people are happy to come in, be there and help. Right? So I don't know how my son gets to school. It's not my business. Like, nobody should take, like, I don't sacrifice my morning because I'd be cranky. And I work with people in San Francisco, so I'm up till late. So don't even come, like, he's only allowed to come in, kiss me and go, right? But these are the kinds of sort of structure that you're going to have to put in place to manage your life. And it's important that you don't overstretch yourself, right? Because you want to be able to present your best self to work. You want to be able to present your best self to parents, right? So some of these boundaries that you're going to have to sort of set is for the greater good.
Oh, great. Awesome. Georgie, Georgie, I know that for so many women who hold top positions in certain organizations, they sometimes have colleagues that feel, a woman, why should you be here? You do not speak when I'm speaking. Your opinion doesn't count. Doesn't matter. You should run things by me first. And then maybe when they see it's a good idea,
It was my idea.
but it came through me first. I chipped in, you know. How have you been able to handle colleagues like that?
I never for once ever felt, at least this is my experience, but I never for once ever felt that my idea was less important or less relevant just because I happen to be female. And I'm really grateful for that experience because I don't think a lot of lawyers in Nigeria as female lawyers have this experience. And I was fortunate to be part of a women's roundtable. The stories that I heard were unbelievable. You know, I mean, one person was telling me about a law firm they were working for, and it's unfortunate it happened to be an Igbo law firm in Abuja. And for some reason, the guy said that there was no need, there was an SAN, practice, there was no need to pay female lawyers because they were going to be taken care of by their fathers or their husbands. I was incredibly gobsmacked because I was like, I'm sorry, in the 21st century? Are you joking? And these are stories that real women are dealing with.
You said you had something to add.
Yes, I think that I would like to encourage women who are going to take jobs that in the process of getting to know a company through that recruitment process, audit their culture, right? You're interviewing them too, because they need your skill set. So have that like thinking at the back of your mind and ask the right questions, right?
Can you give us a few tips of the kinds of questions that they should ask? Because so many women will be watching now.
So tell me about the kind of the regular stakeholders I will be talking to, right? Is it the CEO? Is it this one? And I would ask to speak to such people one-on-one, and then ask them questions about people. How do you help people grow? How many teams have you led before? Ask questions about what interactions look like. Ask questions about whether or not it is okay to give feedback on your experience, right? So how do you handle feedback from employees? Do you do pulse checks? Can I walk up to you and smash a teacup on the roof because I'm really mad? I mean, please don't do that. But is it okay to express myself on some of these issues, especially for women? Because so many times I've been the youngest and the only woman. And, I had the freedom to say, this is not okay. But that also comes from the boldness to take up space, Because if you don't take up space and if you don't have a voice and use it, you can fade into the background, right? So there's that challenge to be better and make really great contributions. But like, it's important that there's space for you to do that. So you're giving, but they should be able to receive as well. The culture should allow for it, right? It's really important.
This is going to be the last question.
I feel like this question is a little bit spicy.
No, not really. But Elena, you decided in your final year, right, to start this hair business. You hadn't been in business before. You haven't worked a 9 to 5 before. You literally threw yourself into the deep end. What tips would you give anyone starting out now?
No.
Any woman starting out now?
Put God first, be consistent. Because I feel like a lot of people start business for all the wrong reasons. They want to make money, which is not a bad thing. But to be honest, a lot of things would make you think twice. Do I really want to do this? So you need to stay, consistent. And the final one would be give it your best. If you're going to sew dresses, ensure that the dress you're sewing is perfect. If you're going to make hair, ensure that the hair you're making is perfect. Give it your best.
Give it your best. I love that. Georgie, what 5 tips would you give a creative lawyer who is also into fintech?
Wow. Oh, wow. 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 I think in summary, 5 things. I think you need to be determined because the journey is not going to be easy. You need to persevere. There are going to be challenges, difficult personalities, and you're going to have to be able to sail through all of that. I would say hone in on your interpersonal skills. I think that's actually my God-given gift, and I'm so grateful to him that I have. But it's literally what has set me apart from everyone else. It helps you to build your network, and your network is your net worth. I know when people say that, it sounds like it's a cliche thing, but it's such a huge thing. So I would say, definitely build your network. I would say be excellent in all that you do, because just like you said, there's nothing worse than going into something and you're not giving your best at it. And it's your reputation on the line. I would never want a situation where anyone would say, oh, they got legal counsel from me and they had a really bad experience for X and Y reasons. So no. And I would say 2 other things, figure out what your anchor is. Hold on to that anchor. It could be family, it could be the love of your life, it could be God, it could be a friend. Whatever your anchor is, have that. And I think the last thing is just make sure you have a great community of people around you, because I don't think you can do anything without having a community around you. So those would be my 5 things.
I love that. Tanya, Ziva is going to be 5, and in 5 years, you have now decided that the next 5 years, you're spreading your tentacles across the globe. Across the globe. That's not an easy feat. Just spreading in the southwest of Nigeria is a lot. What 5 tips, or let me not make it 5 just because, Georgie, what tips would you give any woman who is looking up to you now?
Never give up. I think that's the biggest thing. Don't be scared of failure. I started this fashion thing, I think 4 times, and failed woefully 4 times before I got it right. Don't let anybody talk negativity. So many people are selling clothes. Why do you want to do this? Oh, so many people have kids stores. Why do you want a kid store? Well, because I want one. It fits. I have a child. I have clothing. It works for me. If I had listened to just a quarter of the people that said no, I wouldn't be here. Stay focused, stay determined, and always write down your ideas. Because then you go back. I write down what I want for the year, every year on the 1st of January. And on the last day of the year, I go back and I
take them off.
Oh, I'm not. Yes and no. Sometimes you're not ticking it off because you've done it. Sometimes you're ticking it off because you realize that you actually didn't need it, or it wouldn't have worked for you, or there's so many reasons why, but then you can see the growth and you can see that I've come a
Yes,
long
I
way.
bet you
I've
did.
done something good. So yeah.
All right, great stuff, great stuff. So, you mentor a lot of women, girls. You've said over and over again in the course of our discussion that you love to impact people's lives. You know, your job now, you're happy that you're helping people become better with money and all of that, helping them invest and all of that. What 5 tips would you give people, women in particular, on how they can become successful like you?
So successful is relative. So I'll just try to give like an umbrella list. One, it's take up space in the world, right? We're conditioned to just like be timid and not have a voice. So that thing, that gift that you have, someone's counting on you, right? You decided to just like solve all natural girl problems, and you're doing a kick-ass job at it, and you're capturing value for it. So like that's a validation for whatever it is that your interest is. Take up space and do it, right? 2, it's grow publicly. It's entirely okay to say, because I'm really thrilled for you, but I really want to hear about the things that you learned from the 4 times that you tried and you failed, right? Because that way, if you grow publicly, people become vested in you, and they want to help, they want to contribute to your success, and you can build a community that way, just as you mentioned, right? So have no problem saying, I'm learning this thing, write an article about it, because you're inspiring another girl in India to say, I'm going to try to do this thing too, right? True. So if we all had more public voices as a gender, it would really move the needle, I think. That's number 2, Abby.
You just said so much in one. I was counting.
But, you know, so community, again, is something that I think is super important for women and just for young people, for anyone, right? So there are 3 kinds of people that I like to keep in my community. 1, people who are far ahead of me. I look at you and I feel like I can't touch your garment. Yes, like I want to be in the presence of such people, because it's like a mirror of what I could be. And then the second is my peers, right? Because they are the big contributors to your growth. You just need to look beside you and you see your friend growing, and you can ask them questions about your own journey as well. If we fall, we catch each other. And I don't know, Vasavi, I like people coming from behind as well, because this trend of growth, I would like to pass it on to people coming behind. So even if it's 2, 3 people that you're going to just hold close to you, have that community and help them grow too. I think that's number 3. That was 4. Okay. Thank you, girl. And number 5 is just to enjoy your life, right?
Very important.
I feel like, you know, there's so much content about do this and be this and like, but create pockets of time to just enjoy life now. Your life is happening now, right? So it's the 10 minutes with your kid on the way to school. If that's what you enjoy, do it. Right? If it's time away with your friends where nobody should call me, don't call me, right? Do that, because you know you don't want to look back and feel like you lost your life in the process of reaching for greatness, right? Have fun, I beg.
Have fun, I beg.
That's actually like my real life motto, to be honest. Work hard, play hard. And anyone who knows me knows
Play
that's
hard.
the truth.
Have a good time.
Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Sho. It's been fun chatting with you. I enjoyed, I laughed, I ate, I drank. I just had a good time with you. So thank you so much for honoring us and for being here with us. And I wish you all success.
Thank you.
Wealth, plenty of coins.
Amen.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we have come to the end of today's episode of Real Talk. I'm sure you have one comment or two, a contribution, or just things that you've learned from them. Please drop them in the comment section. And until next time that we come your way, it's au revoir from us to you. Mwah.